Are you wondering how to start asparagus from seeds? In today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to show you. Hi guys, I'm Chantel from peacefullivingung.com. I talk about from scratch gluten-free cooking, gardening, and self-sufficiency, helping you discover the beauty of life. So, talking about asparagus and starting them from seeds. The first and most important thing to know about asparagus, you don't want to drop the seeds. That's very important. But the first and most important thing to know about asparagus is that asparagus likes to go through a process called a stratification process, and that process is going to give you a much higher rate of germination in your asparagus seeds. So if you are having a tough, ooh, okay, don't touch. Don't come here, please. I need to pick up the seeds, okay? Don't touch them. So, I forgot what I was saying. Asparagus seeds are dropping everywhere. I gotta pick them up. So, if you are having a tough time, no, serenity, toddlers. We don't want to lose the seeds, okay? Yeah, we have to put them back in the fridge. I have no idea where I was. Where was I? So if you're having a tough time in having your asparagus seeds germinate, that's probably why. So the process of stratification is basically allowing the seeds to go through a cold period from between 4 up to 8 weeks. Some people say 4 to 6 weeks, some say 4 to 8 weeks, it depends. So asparagus, for each plant would be different, but for asparagus it's from 4 to 6 weeks. I didn't stratify these seeds that much, but I had them in the fridge sitting for a couple days, and I'm hoping that would work because I had to film this video for you guys. I still have more asparagus seeds. If these don't germinate, they're sitting in my fridge right now. So that's how I'm choosing to stratify my asparagus seeds. I put them in the fridge. You could put them in any cold place, or you could start them by using the winter sowing method. The winter sowing method is basically using milk jugs or transparent milk water containers and putting some seed starting mix in there, planting your seeds in it, and leaving the cap off and putting it outside. And you do that, and you start that process in January. So through that, the seeds are allowed to go through, sorry for the noise, through a cold period, and that just helps in their germination, and they have the exposure to all the outside elements, and they actually do very well in that with that method. But if you want to start them indoor, you could stratify them by putting them in the fridge for 4 to 6 weeks. And the next thing you should know about starting asparagus from seed is the type of soil you should be using. So when you are starting any type of seeds, you shouldn't just use any type of soil. You should use a soil that's specifically designed for seed starting, and that's known as a seed starting mix. I will be leaving a link for the seed starting mix that I'm using, and you could really use any seed starting mix. Anything would work because as long as it says on it, seed starting mix. You could for sure, you could also start seeds in any type of soil, but you would have a lower germination rate. Like you could start it in potting soil, but you're not going to have the same successful results as starting it in a seed starting mix. Or you could start it in dirt that you get from outside, but again, you're not going to have the same successful results by starting it in a seed starting mix. And that is because outside dirt would carry diseases and would carry weed seeds and all sorts of stuff, and if you are learning how to start things from seed or if you're a new gardener and you don't know, a beginner gardener, and you don't know what is the plant that you are that you have planted, and how is it going to look like when it first germinates, and what are the plants that have germinated that were from seeds that came from outside. That would be really difficult for you to differentiate between these plants. And also you're also exposing your seeds for your seedlings for diseases and such. When it comes to soil from outside, dirt from outside, and a potting mix, they are much denser than a seed starting mix, and at the same time they also don't have the nutrients that seeds would need when they first germinate. Seed starting mixes are designed to provide nutrients for the seeds as soon as they germinate, and to provide them with the things that they need to as they are maturing as a seedling, I suppose. I have a detailed article on my website that talks about seed starting, how to start seeds indoors, and talks about how to set up your DIY grow light system, how to choose the soil and why, and all the questions that you ask about how to start seeds from indoors. All these questions that you have about this topic are answered in that article, so I will be linking it down in the description box below for you guys. So the next thing that we want to talk about is the depth, at what depth you should be planting your asparagus seeds. So for asparagus seeds, you don't want to go more than ½ an inch. When you are planting any seed, you want to look at the diameter of that seed. You want to bury it about twice as more dirt as it would take in the hole that you would have created for it. So to plant the seeds, what you do is you just poke a hole in the dirt, and about a ¼ inch to ½ an inch deep, and you're going to poke 2 holes in each cell, and you are going to put your seeds in them and then cover them with dirt, and you might want to add a little bit of seed starting mix on top to cover up the seeds and ensure that they are in contact with the soil, because you want to make sure that they're surrounded with seed starting mix and with the moisture and all that stuff. And if you guys are curious about the seed starting tray that I'm using, I will leave a link for it down in the description box below. Now this seed starting tray comes with a dome, but I don't know where I put my dome. I gotta look for it. And what that dome does is basically it keeps the humidity level inside the seed starting tray almost the same as you would have had it when you have first planted the seeds and moistened the soil, it would minimize the amount of times you would have to water your seedlings. One thing I think I forgot to talk about before I jump into the next thing is how you want, when you are planting the asparagus seeds, before you put your soil into the seed starting trays or into whatever pots you're using or anything that you're using, you want to make sure to wet your seed starting mix first before you put it into the seed trays or the pots that you're using, because it is much harder to wet the seed starting mix once you put it into the trays. If you put it in dry, it's going to float on you. A lot of dirt is going to spill out because it is very dry when you open up the bag. So you want to mix it inside a bowl or a bucket. Slowly pour in some warm water and mix it. And with every pour, you want to mix so that you don't add too much water. The mixture should be wet, it should not be muddy, and it should hold together when you squeeze it together, and it should not be dripping wet. And also it should crumble apart as soon as you kind of drop it, or just like try to take it apart. It should just crumble apart as if, almost as if it has no water. But when you squish it together, it should hold together and stay together. let's talk about the ideal temperature that you want your asparagus seeds to be at in order to germinate. To have the best success at germinating your asparagus seeds, you want them to be around the temperature of 65 to 80 Fahrenheit. You don't want it to be any higher than that, and you don't want it to be any lower than that. That's the time when in nature asparagus would begin to... Shh. Serenity! That's the time in nature when asparagus begins to germinate. I'm sorry, guys. Another thing to mention is that asparagus seeds take from between... I guess you're gonna have to listen to toddler noises as you listen to me. I'm sorry. Okay, that's just how life is. All right, so asparagus seeds can take up to asparagus seeds can take from between 10 to 53 days to germinate. So you want to be patient with them. Don't be going there and checking on them like the time you plant them. I do that. It's a joke, okay? But I get impatient with waiting for my seeds to germinate, and asparagus can take a long time to germinate. So be patient with them. Check on them daily. Make sure to water them daily, or if they need water, you know what, you want to check on the moisture level. And to water them, you just want to spritz them with a spritzer. You don't want to pour water directly into the tray when you first plant them, because what happens is you're going to provide the opportunity for mold to grow into the trays because of the excess moisture. So to prevent that, just spritz them with water until the seeds sprout. Once the seeds sprout, then you can add water into the tray, and this way the roots of the plant will begin to absorb the water from the mat that's inside over here. And the mat sits on onto a fixture inside the tray, and you put the water inside the tray, and the mat wicks the water out of the tray. And these trays at the bottom have holes, and the roots take the water through the mat, and they absorb it, and the plant gets its water that way. Oh, another important thing to mention is that once the seeds germinate and you begin to see growth over the surface of the soil, you want to remove the domes, because once those leaves are formed, the first set of leaves are formed, or in the case of asparagus, it's most likely going to be like a little green shoot. Yes, Mama. You want to prevent the moisture from accumulating over the surface of the asparagus and causing... You fell. Are you okay? Yeah. 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 You want to sit on my lap? Oh. So you want to prevent the moisture from accumulating over the asparagus or any type of seed for that matter, and causing mold and disease to form on that plant and possibly killing it, or seedling, and possibly killing it. I also forgot to mention that you did see me write on these popsicle sticks with my permanent marker, but I actually got a gardening marker with special plastic tags to put inside the seed starting trays and outside also, so that the ink does not dissolve and I won't know what I have over here, because every year I would use these popsicle sticks and just a permanent marker, and what happens, hold on baby, and what happens is that the ink would just disappear, and then I would end up guessing what I planted in those trays until they finally germinate, and I know what I have in there. So I will be leaving a link for those tags and for the gardening marker that I am going to be using. I didn't use it in the video just because I put it away, and I have to go looking for it now because we're trying to organize our. I'm trying to organize my gardening stuff, and things got put away, and I have no idea where they are right now. So I'll find it, and I'll be using those instead. If you want to learn more about gardening, I have a gardening playlist over here. You can go ahead and watch it, and I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Can you say bye? Can you say bye?
Bye.
Bye.